Hey guys, Frank here from Preston, Melbourne. Um, just putting up a video. I haven't done one for a while, but I'm actually putting up a response to Graham at Crackinvinyl, his 10-year anniversary. He put up a tag just recently, and it was regarding 80s music. So 20 questions, so I'll give a go at answering them all. I must admit, back in the day in the 80s music was not my thing back then. I was sort of, I was quite young then, but I was more into your 70s hard rock and stuff. And then when the 80s came around and all the new romantic stuff came in and that, I just wasn't into it at all. So you'll probably find a lot of my albums are actually towards the late 80s. That's when it started becoming good again. You got all your Mud Honeys and Dinosaur Jr. and Pixies and all that starting to enter the fold. And yeah, but anyway, I'll give it a shot. So here we go. Which 80s songs has the best music video? Well, I've gone for this one here. I haven't got the album, but I've got it on a compilation album. It's The Cure here. And the last song on this album is Close to Me. And the video to this is just absolutely brilliant. Loved it. It's when the three of them are sitting in this cupboard together, just playing the song. And yeah, awesome track and awesome video. Yeah, one of the best. But yeah, it's off the Head on the Door album. But yeah, this is a comp that I've got with on it. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Favorite album from 1983. Well, I've shown this before, but I'd have to say this is my favorite album of 93 and probably my favorite album of this artist. And that's Tom Waits, Swordfish Trombone. Absolute perler, killer album. Just, yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Give it a listen if you haven't heard it. It is just brilliant, brilliant. All right, show a 12-inch single. Well, here I've got the 1988 Womack and Womack Footsteps. Well, not Footsteps, Teardrops, sorry. Teardrops. Yeah, classic song, it used to get everyone on the floor. Still does now and then, you might hear it, but yeah, great song. Yeah, Womack and Womack Teardrops. All right, choose a one-hit wonder. Well, I've gone this band, and their one big hit, the Smithereens, their one big hit was A Girl Like You. Brilliant song, brilliant song. And I think that was their only hit that they had, the only song that you ever hear here on the radio or, on our independent radio. But yeah, still a very good album. 11 called from 1989. Yeah, Girl Like You. Great song, great song. All right. What? A record from your favorite 80s artist? Well, I'd have to say one of my favorite 80s artists, or be up there to the top, would be Faith No More. Yeah, can't beat him. Seen him a number of times live. Got all their stuff on vinyl. Just love them. Love them. Apparently, there's a rumor going out now that, well, not a rumor. It's online that they're going to be reforming and touring next year, which would just be sensational. Mike Patton, you just can't beat him. But yeah, so yeah, one of my favourites. This is a 1989, The Real Thing. It was called. Yeah, but awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay. Um, show an 80s dance floor banger. Well, here we go. Got these guys here. Pop will eat itself. At 1989. Um, this is the day. This is the hour. This is this. Killer album, but yeah, the song off here is DEFCON 1. That used to just get the place just rocking. Just such a great song. Such a great song. So yeah, that would be my dance floor banger, definitely. DEFCON 1, Populate itself. All right, next. Um, an 80s cover. An 80s cover. Well, oh no, sorry. An an 80s album with an 80s looking cover. Well, I've gone this one here. Rolling Stones, Dirty Work. This is God, 1986. But yeah, got all the pastel colours on here and that. Very, very 80s looking. Very 80s looking. Um, it's one of their lesser albums. About the only really good song on here was a song called One Hit to the Body. But yeah, here's my 80s album cover. All right. Favorite acts from Live Aid. Well, yeah, I remember watching that. We were all sitting around, me and my mates, and we were taping it on the tape recorders and watching it live and that. But yeah, but probably my favorite act. He's one of my favorite acts. Generally, I'd have to say was Neil Young. He did 5 songs, I think. He did a killer version of Powderfinger on it. Um, I put this album up because he released this around that time, 1983. Um, Probably his worst album, but yeah, he was one of the best from Live Aid. All right, a record with big hair. Well, I'd have to go here. There we go. We've got Poison Ivy from the Cramps. You can see here, big hair. Poison Ivy from the Cramps. This absolute killer album, 1986. Date with Elvis. Yeah, the Cramps. Yeah, fella. All right. Your favourite cover song from the 1980s? Well, I've got this album here. They do 2 cover songs on here. They do Sympathy for the Devil by the Stones, but they do a version of Rock and Roll um, by Velvet Underground, and they do a very good version of it. But yeah, this is from their first self-titled album. Um, it's 1987. Yeah, so yeah, Jane's Addiction. But yeah, it's a brilliant. Hard to find albums one, but yeah, cool. All right, a forgotten gem. I've shown this one before, but it's got probably one of the best songs from 1980. And here it's Jello Biafra and the Canadian band DOA. Um, Absolute killer album. Um, Last Scream of the Missing Neighbor, and it's got one of the best tracks of the 80s on here called Full Metal Jack Off. It is just absolutely brilliant. Absolute Jello at his best, Great album. Um, did I say what year it was? It was 1989. But yeah, Jello Biafra and DOA. All right. Give us a collaboration, 2 artists you wish collaborated together. So I've shown already one of his albums, but I've gone Tom Waits and Nina Hagen. Nina Hagen, the godmother of German punk avant-garde. But I think these two could have really put some really good stuff together, some really good stuff together. So yeah, Nina Hagen, Tom Waits. All right. If you could get into a time machine and go back to any gig in the 1980s, what would you go to? Well, I would actually go to 1980, July 7th, the Esputhal or Esport Hall in West Berlin, and it was their very last gig, and it was just would be to see these guys, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, so yeah, 1980. They 2 months later, Bonham actually died, and that's when the band is disbanded. But yeah, yeah, I know it's just snuck in 1980, but yeah, if I could see any gig from the 80s, this would be it, their last ever gig. And by reading the reviews and that, it got very good reviews. The set list is just really, really good. So I showed this because this is the only album they released in the 80s, and it's just a compilation album of offcuts. But yeah, yeah, Coda. But anyway, that was my answer to that one. All right, a synth pop record of the 80s. Well, I've gone for her debut album, Laurie Anderson, Big Science. This is synth pop, great album. It's probably got her biggest song on here, Superman. And what year was it? It was 1982. But yeah, great stuff. Laurie Anderson. All right, a movie soundtrack. Well, I've gone this movie soundtrack but it's actually a soundtrack to a concert movie, but it's a soundtrack. So I've gone to the old Talking Heads, 1984. Stop Making Sense. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Not a bad track on here. Brilliant film. just highlights how good these guys were. So yeah, Talking Heads stop making sense. All right, a hairbrush song. So he meant a song that when you hear it, you can't stop singing it, and a song from the 80s. Well, I've gone for this 1988 classic off Pixies, Surfer Rosa, and the song is um, gigantic, gigantic. You know, Kim Deal's song, gigantic, just absolute killer track. Um, I've seen these guys live a number of times, and yeah, one time I saw them. It was the very last song they did, and just blew the place apart. But yeah, yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, that's my earworm song. Yeah, gigantic. All right. Um, Next, choose your favorite hip hop soul from the 80s. Well, I'd have to go this 1989 classic. Oh, 1989 classic, Paul's Boutique by um, the Beastie Boys. I've seen in some rankings as people rate this as probably one of the best albums of the 1980s. But yeah, great stuff, great stuff. 1989, you just can't beat it. Can't beat it. All right, an artist that you would like to make a comeback. Well, an artist that I'd really like to make a comeback, and you know, there's you're hearing a bit about him lately because they've released a doco a couple of years ago, and it's coming out again, and a lot of people are going on about it. But I'd love to see Butthole Surfers. I've seen them once before, you know, probably about 15 years ago. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I doubt that they'll get back together. You know, they're getting a bit old, but yeah, this is a band. Yeah, if I could choose anyone, I would love to see him. All right, question 19. An album you'd put into a Walkman. Well, funnily enough, I've got a Walkman here. Still works. Yeah, still works. You know, probably about 40 years old now. And an album I would put onto it. Let's pull it out. And it's this one here, Grace Jones, Living My Life, 1982. Great cassette. Yeah, so yeah, that's my Walkman and cassette. There you go. And your 1980s crush? Well, I suppose this is going to be a pretty popular one, but I've had to go. The old Kate Bush. Yeah, brilliant. And yeah, can't beat her. Just can't beat her. Yeah, 1982, The Dreaming. So yeah, all right. Well, that's my 20 answers to the questions. Good on you, Graham. Good tag. Yeah, I'll speak to you all a bit later on. See ya.